Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's been a while, and as you can see, I have had my baby. In my last video I had said that I wanted to vlog the last week of my pregnancy, but I ended up having her at 39 weeks in one day. So today we're going to film my labor and delivery story. I'm gonna go like off memory and off of some notes here. I'm gonna be kind of quiet because she is asleep and I know once she wakes up she's gonna be hungry. So alright, let's get started with the video. Sunday the 7th of April, I was 38 weeks and 6 days pregnant, and I had started having consistent contractions around 3 p.m. They were like every 20 to 30 minutes apart, something like that. And so I was like, oh, okay, it's just a false alarm, just early labor. I had it with Eva and it took like 2 days to have her, so I was like, oh, it'll be a while. I know it can last for up to a week because I was expecting to have her after 40 weeks like I did with Eva. So I just kind of blew it off, and it like started as like really bad back pain and I like kind of just was like, oh, whatever, just blew it off. And you know, Tyler and I started making dinner, and then I was still having them, and I was like, okay, this is, you know, this kind of just, they should have stopped by now. It's been like 3 hours. So I bounced on the ball for a while, and it kind of made things worse. Like, it made my back pain worse. So I was like, okay, yeah, maybe something's starting, but I still like was expecting it to take a while, because I know you can be in like early labor for like weeks, days, hours, or weeks, you know. So I was like, oh, it'll probably be a while. And so I got Eva ready for bed, and then Tyler and I laid down. And at this point they were like every 15 minutes apart, and I just remember them like waking me up. Every single one woke me up. Like, I was not getting any sleep, so it was like every 15 minutes I was up. And I mean, if they were strong enough to wake me up, obviously they were, you know, doing something. So I was like, okay, tried to get as much sleep as I could, which was like nearly impossible. And so that Monday morning, it was like 6 a.m. I finally was like, all right, I'm just gonna get out of bed and see what's going on, you know, drink some water, whatever. Oh, and I had tried to take a shower that night before bed to see if it would like help or stop them or anything, and it didn't really do much. So it was like 6 a.m. and I called my mom just to like put her on standby for Eva and told her what was going on. And they were about like 10 minutes apart at this point, and they were like noticeably stronger, but like not anywhere near where I thought that, you know, something was at least not strong enough for me to be like, oh, I need to go to the hospital right now, you know. So I kind of just like went on about the morning, said goodbye to Tyler when he went to work, and then Eva woke up at about 7 a.m. And at this point I had lost like my entire mucus plug, and it was bloody. TMI, sorry. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna call my midwife when their office opens and see what she wants me to do. So I got Eva breakfast and just went about my day as normal. And at this point they're like 7 minutes apart, and it's like 8:30. So I call my midwife's office, and they were like, Lily, it was a nurse that answered, and they said, Lily, which is one of my midwives, and she's my favorite out of all 7 of them. They said, Lily is on call at the hospital right now, so we'll tell her what's going on, you know, everything that you told us, and she'll give you a call back and tell you what to do from there. So I was like, okay, cool. So I just like, you know, kind of waited around for the call. I gave Eva a bath, and she calls me at about like 9:30, and she's like, hey, so they told me everything that's going on. I want to hear it from you. And so I told her, you know, that I'd been contracting and that they were waking me up and I had lost my mucus plug and now they're about 7 minutes apart. And so she was like, oh yeah, definitely sounds like something's going on. Why don't you come in and get checked and, you know, we'll go from there. So I called Tyler, I called my mom. My mom and my grandma came over. And while they were here, I was just kind of getting the bags together, making sure that we had everything that we needed, all the little last minute things just in case they did keep us. And then not too long later, Tyler comes over and he was like expecting me to be like, you know, ready, rushing out of the house, ready to go to the hospital. And I'm just like cool, calm, and collected, just making sure we have everything, talking to my mom and my grandma and whatnot. And then finally, after like half an hour, we load the bags up and we get in the car and we head to the hospital. And on the way to the hospital, Tyler and I decided to change her name again for like the 100th time. This little girl has had a million names. And so we're on our way to the hospital. We get there. They already had like a triage room waiting for us just to monitor me. And so we get there, it's about like, I think maybe like 10:30, and they have me on the monitors. I'm still contracting like every 7 minutes, and so they had checked me when I first got there, and they said I'm about like a centimeter and a half-ish. And so I was like, okay, great, this is gonna take forever. Like, I'm literally gonna be in labor for like days, so I'm gonna go home and just have to deal with this like I did with Eva. And so they like monitor me for an hour, and then they come back in and check me at like 11:30, and they're like, okay, you're still about a centimeter and a half, so we're gonna go ahead and send you home. Just go to your regular doctor's appointment that's scheduled for today. And I was like, okay, great. And I like started crying because I'm emotional, and I'm like, I want a natural labor, this hurts, this is gonna take forever. And so I was just like kind of discouraged at that point. And Tyler's like, oh, now I have to go back to work. So Tyler drops me off at home, and then he goes back to work, and my mom and I get Eva down for a nap, and my mom kind of stays with me just to like, you know, make sure nothing goes wrong, and so she can take me to my doctor's appointment. And so Eva's napping, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try to take a nap. My mom was laying in bed with me and rubbing my back while we were watching Friends, so I could try to get some sleep and maybe, you know, just try to help with the contractions. And I was still waking up about every 5 minutes, because at this point now they were 5 minutes apart. And I was like, great, I'm not gonna get any sleep. I haven't slept in 2 days now. Like, I'm tired. And so I like didn't get much sleep. I slept maybe 20 minutes during Eva's nap, and then she woke up. It's about like 3:30 at this point, and my doctor's appointment was at 4, so we head there. And one of the other midwives was in the office because Lily was at the hospital, and so she's like, we get there, she checks, you know, the heart rate and everything, and she's like watching me have to like breathe through my contractions because they were noticeably stronger at this point. And so she's like, alright, I'm gonna check you again just to make sure, because obviously you've been contracting for over 24 hours and they're getting closer and stronger, so I just want to see what's going on. And so she checks me, and her face was hilarious. She looks at me like this, and she's like, you're at 5 centimeters? And I was like, what? 5? Like, I've only been, you know, they checked me 5 hours ago. And she was like, so why don't you head to the hospital, I'll have Tyler meet you there, you know, we'll have a room ready, whatever. So I'm like, okay, wow, I am having a baby today. Like, was not expecting that at all. And so my mom and Eva drop me off at the hospital, and Tyler meets me there, and my mom comes back here with Eva to, you know, take care of her and whatever. And so we get there, we get all settled in, and I'm getting like my IV put in and everything, and they blew 3 veins in my right arm. They started up here. No. Where did they started down here and like blew the vein down here. So then they put it in my hand and blew that one, and because the blood pressure cuff was on, my whole hand was like swollen and bruised all night, and I still have like a slight bruise there, and it's been 2 weeks. So that was like so annoying, like when you're contracting and they're trying to poke you with a needle and they blow it, like blow a vein so like 3 times. And so I was like, all right, you know what, just put it in this arm, you know, hopefully we'll figure it out. And they finally got it like right here, which is like an awkward spot, but whatever, I guess. And so it's like 6 o'clock at this point. They're monitoring me. They wanted 20 minutes of like good steady heart rate for the baby during my contractions before they could take me off the monitors and like unhook my IV. So then that way I'd be able to like, oh goodness, Toots. So that way I'd be able to like move freely and labor how I want, because I did want a natural labor, and laboring like naturally while laying on your back is not comfortable. It does not help the pain at all. So after like 20 minutes of monitoring, the baby looked good. My contractions were still steady, so they unhooked everything. And at this point I was at 6 centimeters. And so I was just kind of like working through the contractions and, you know, practicing my breathing. And the nurse that was there, she had a natural water birth, so she was kind of like coaching Tyler on how to help with the pain. So she was teaching him how to add like counter pressure to my hips during my contractions, which helped so much. Oh my gosh, I like highly recommend it if you want to go natural because it really helped like distract me and keep like a focus, help me focus on my breathing. And so I'm just kind of like working through contractions as time is like passing by. They bring the tub in and they fill it, and my midwife comes in and she's like kind of just coaching me through my contractions. And like she pretty much didn't really have to do anything because she was like, you're working through these flawlessly. She's like, you already know what you're doing. And I was like, I've been preparing myself for this for months, so of course I know what I'm doing. Like, I did not want to freak out or anything. I had been, you know, I did like online courses and, you know, just kind of kept telling myself for months, like, oh, your body's meant to do this, you've got this, you know, you're a warrior. All those like mantras. Just kind of, you know, for months, just so I was prepared. And so it's like maybe like, I'm trying to think what time it was. So we got the pool all set up. I think it was maybe like 9 or 10 o'clock before I even got in the water, because I was GBS positive, so I had to have 2 rounds of antibiotics in my system before I could, you know, have a baby. So before I got in the water, Lily had checked me and I was 7 centimeters, and she was like, okay, so we have 2 options. We can either keep doing what you're doing and let your water break on your own, or I can break your water now and things will get more intense, but they will start moving quicker. And so she's like, I will give you and Tyler a few minutes to talk about it, and then I will come back and, you know, we'll decide from there. And so Tyler and I talked about it, and we were like, it's 10 o'clock. I've been in labor for like 31 hours now, if you count from like the first contraction that I noticed at 3 p.m. Sunday. It's 10 p.m. on Monday, so I'm like, all right, yeah, let's break my water and get things, you know, moving quicker than they already are. So she comes back in, she breaks my water, and says that it's like, she noticed like a little bit of green, but she's like, I don't know if that's like the last little bit of your mucus plug or if baby had pooped. So she was like, we'll let you labor in the water for a little bit, and like with each contraction more water will gush out, and so we'll know at that point if she had pooped or not. So I'm like, okay, 7 centimeters, water's broken. We get in the tub, or I get in the tub, and instantly it's like the contractions are so much stronger and hit me so hard. And so I'm just kind of like moving, trying to find like a comfortable position, kind of letting my body tell me what to do. And she checks me again, and I'm 8 centimeters. So I'm like, okay, that was fast. Like, you had just broke my water. I just got like my glove over my IV, got undressed, got in the tub. It was maybe like 20 minutes, and now I'm at 8 centimeters. So I'm like, okay, great. Things are gonna move fast. And so I'm just like trying to get comfortable, trying to like do anything possible to just keep myself comfortable, because they were so much stronger at this point. And a couple hours pass by, it's like 12 o'clock, and she's like, oh, we're gonna have this. I had said to Tyler, I said, how crazy would it be if she was born at 1:05 in the morning, because that's the time that Eva was born. And my midwife was like, oh no, she'll be born before 1 a.m. And so we were like, okay, great. Like, wow, it's 11:30, like, great, I'm gonna have a baby in like less than an hour and a half. And so I like keep, just like moaning through them, like low moans and like deep breaths, just to try to like, keep my body relaxed and keep my mind relaxed, just so my body can do what it needs to do. Finally, like 12:30 hits, and she notices that the water coming out is green. So baby definitely did poop. So she's like, all right, you can't birth in the water, just for safety reasons, whatever. So I get out, she checks me, and she's like, it's 12:30 at this point. She checks me and she's like, you are still at 8 centimeters. Like, you have not moved. I was like, great, I'm tired. I'm doing this for like 34 hours now. I am exhausted. My body's not doing what it needs to do. I'm in so much more pain now that I'm out of the water. I'm trying anything I can, because my contractions are 3 minutes apart, so it's like I didn't really get a break, and they're so strong that it's like I didn't get, before they were like waves, it's like, okay, I feel it starting, it's, getting more intense, it's reached its max intensity, now it's stopping, and we're done. And I had like that, 1 minute of a wave, and I was able to like, kind of just like count through it and like, okay, yeah, it's almost over. But after my water had broke, it was just 2 hours of like contraction, very intense, it's done. Like, oh my gosh, it was the most intense pain. I can't even, it's indescribable. Like, it was tough. It was tough. And so 1 o'clock hits, and I'm still at 8. 2 o'clock hits, still at like 8 centimeters. And so I finally was like, all right, I cannot do this anymore. I'm not allowing myself to relax enough for my body to do what it needs to do, because I can't. Like, I physically am done. I mentally am done. I can't do it anymore. And so finally the anesthesiologist comes in at 3:30 in the morning, and I get my epidural, but I asked for like the lowest dose possible, so I was still able to move my legs, and I still wanted to be able to feel her coming out, because with Eva, my epidural worked so well that I literally felt nothing. I didn't even feel pressure, the pressure of me pushing her out. So it was like, I didn't really, it just happened and she was here. So I wanted to be able to still experience that and still feel everything, but not as intensely as I was without it. So they administered my epidural. I was still feeling contractions, but it was like they weren't intense at all, so it was like such a relief, and I was able to relax. Oh, it's okay, Fuzzies. I was able to relax enough. And I had relaxed too much that my contractions went from 3 minutes to 6 minutes apart, and everything was like slowing down. So my midwife came in, it's like 4:30, almost 5 a.m. and she's like, all right, things have slowed down too much. The baby's heart rate is dropping right after each contraction. So we are going to administer Pitocin to kind of speed things up. And so I'm like, okay. She comes back in after the Pitocin and everything, and it's like 6 in the morning, and she checks me and she's like, all right, you're at 9, but I'm able to like move your cervix, so there's only a little bit of it left, and then, you know, it'll be baby time. But when she had come down after the Pitocin was administered, she had come down with her head to the right, so her head was stuck in my right hip. So I had to lay on my left side for like 20 minutes to get her to straighten out. And so my midwife came back in I remember looking at the clock at 6:26, and she was like, you're still at 9, but I'm able to move your cervix around her head, so let's have a baby. And so she woke up Tyler. Tyler had been asleep for the last 3 hours. So she woke up Tyler, and she's like, are you ready to have a baby? We're about to start pushing. And he's like, what? Okay. And so by the time everything gets set up, and you know, she's like, we're having this baby before I leave here at 7 a.m. So it's like 6:30, I'm getting ready to start pushing. Tyler's, you know, ready to go. He was gonna catch her. And so, you know, we start pushing. Oh goodness. So we start pushing, and everything happens so fast, and Tyler was gonna catch her, but he saw how much hair she had, and he's like, oh my gosh, she has hair, because Eva was bald until like this year. Oh goodness. So we start pushing, and 15 minutes later, she was born at 6:46 in the morning, 7 pounds, 15.5 ounces, and 21 and a quarter inches, or 20 and a quarter inches. Tyler was supposed to catch her, but he got like way too nervous. Not like nervous, but he saw that she had hair, and we had been like praying for her to have hair. And so he was like, I can't do it. So I ended up pulling her out and up to my chest myself. She's getting hungry, but I still want you guys to be able to see her. This is our sweet little Emma Ray. Can you say hi? Can you say hi? Oh, I know, she's getting hungry. So I'm gonna end this video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. The labor and delivery vlog will be edited and up at some point after this video. I'm working really hard to make it, you know, decent. It did not turn out how I wanted it at all. We weren't allowed to record me pushing, so I didn't get that moment. I didn't get after, because we were just so overwhelmed and so happy that she was here that Tyler didn't pull out the camera, which, I mean, I don't blame him. But yeah, so it didn't really turn out how I wanted it to at all, but it's okay. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to feed this little one. We hope you enjoyed. Can you say bye? We'll see you in our next video.